Hey, Shane.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of Naruto?
Like a little. When
Like
I
a
was
little?
when I was little.
When you were little, you saw
I saw
little?
little.
Okay. Well, I'm going to show you a random Naruto movie from late in the run with zero context, and let's just see what happens.
Okay.
Well... So now you've watched a random Naruto movie from late in its run of the sequel series with no context.
Yeah.
We watched Road to Ninja.
Yeah.
One of the, like, quote-unquote better ones from a very low standard of what the Naruto movies are. The Naruto movies being famously bad.
Yeah. I actually didn't know that. I didn't know they were famously bad.
Yeah, there's, like, two good ones.
Are there anime series that have, like, actually, like, great movies?
People love the Cowboy Bebop movie.
Okay.
I haven't seen it. It's a little hard to track down.
Big robot.
Evangelion,
Yeah,
yes. The
yeah.
end of Evangelion is famously great. It's on the Letterboxd Top 250.
Yeah,
like,
it is.
The Demon Slayer movie is a bit unfair because it's a canon movie, but then they remade it in the series,
Oh,
which
weird.
is super frustrating.
Weird.
So that one's famously good. The My Hero movies are like really well received. One of them specifically is like really well received. It's really good.
Interesting.
The other two are just like, oh, these are fun.
Yeah.
But like the Naruto movies are like kind of not great.
Yeah.
They're just like random adventures wherein a lot of the rules of the world don't exactly apply.
Yeah.
And they fall heavily under the like, this isn't actually canon and it will not make, because there's one where it's like, it does like a good bit of character development in like really cool ways. And then the end of the movie is them forgetting everything. You're like, so what was the point? Like, why did we do this?
Amazing. Hilarious.
Which is a trope I hate and pops up more often than you'd think. But anyway.
It almost pops up in this movie.
It almost pops up in this movie.
That moment in the movie where it's like, I'm going to make you forget. And you're like, that's not even a power. And then he just remembers everything anyways.
Like, I was like, that's not something the Sharingan can do.
Yeah.
Like, maybe specific people, because there's this thing called the Mangekyo Sharingan, which is like the level up to the power. And each of those people have individual powers.
Yeah. To prepare everybody for this episode, I'm not going to remember a single person's name other than Naruto and Sasuke for some reason, just because Sasuke's Sasuke. And I just
So you may be wondering why I would do this, why I would be like, let's watch a
why
random
you torture me with
anime movie from a series you only kind of know a little about from when you were a kid.
Yeah.
There's a couple reasons to that. One, it made me laugh. The idea of showing, because it was between this and a My Hero movie, just showing you something that you have zero context for and seeing how it plays is something that fascinates me. It's something I've been thinking about a lot. Yeah. So like partly when we were deciding to do this, we were talking about like Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, and how you really don't need Rise. Yeah. But Rise like adds to it. Yeah. And I think that plays here sort of if this movie was better. Yeah. The other thing is I have an obsession with watching things in weird orders. Yeah. Like comedy specials, I do this a lot. Like if I just get in the mood to watch a comedy special, happens like once a year where I just binge a bunch of them. Mm-hmm. I will watch them in like reverse chronological order. So like I'll take John Mulaney's whole thing and I'll watch his newest one and I'll go backwards. Yeah. I don't know why I do it, but I do it all the time. I've done it with Mike Birbiglia. I've done it with like Tom Segura and a bunch of other people. Yeah. It's just a really interesting way. Instead of watching like how an artist evolves, watching them de-evolve is like a weird, like it puts things in perspective in an interesting way. I want to watch The Shining forwards and backwards at the same time, overlaid over each other. Which is from that documentary they talked about that they screened it once, like the Room 237. 237, yeah. They screened it like that once, and he's like, it all adds up, and I was like, okay, I'm actually. But then they would show images, and I'd be like, okay, now I'm curious. Yeah. Like, anyway. So I have an obsession with watching things in kind of a weird way. There's a lot of movies I want to watch in black and white that are in color. Like that's one thing that I'm super into. I know you're into that as well. Yeah. Do you ever have that? Do you ever have that like weird drive of, or even this, being interested in something late in a series or late in a franchise, but not really caring about anything before it? Do you ever have those?
I mean, I could say Dragon Ball Z. Yeah. I don't really care about watching Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like, like, and I'm fine with things like Kai. You know what I mean? Like, watching things like out of order outside of just like skipping chunks that I know aren't necessarily relevant to or aren't as relevant to what I'm currently watching. Is probably where I do it the most. It's like to bring up your example of like comedy specials. I've never done that, like going backwards chronologically. Fascinating. That would also, I think, be very fascinating to watch, like filmmakers, like filmography
backwards.
Is watching it backwards, seeing where where they are now, starting where they are now, and then going backwards in time would be really interesting. Like doing that with like Scorsese, I bet would be fascinating.
It would be an awesome experience.
I've been wanting to like go through his filmography recently, but. I like, other than that, like I can't think of any like particular like weird orders or weird, I like black and white, like you said, I think is an always cool.
Yeah.
Whether or not the movie was like specifically designed with that in mind or not, I always think it's an interesting way to like see a movie and see how how contrast shapes an image and that kind of thing.
And it makes you focus on framing way more,
blocking
way more.
Composition, yeah.
Like I think some of the best blocking ever is in best blocking and best coverage, I should say, ever is in 12 Angry Men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think so much of that is because it's in black and white. It just makes you sit there and just experience the words. Like it understimulates you in an interesting way, I think.
Yeah. No, I completely agree.
I'm upset. I have a lot of friends who are like, that movie's in black and white. It looks old. And I was like, it came out last year. Like, please don't do this. I love black and white images.
Yeah.
Anyway, not to get too hung up on that. I have a weird obsession with showing things in a weird order and context for media and things like that. Like, it's the same idea of like telling people, like prefacing a movie before you show it to them.
Yeah.
So I have a weird obsession with that. And I love Naruto desperately. I feel like Naruto is a world that I would watch static images of just random things played over the music for like hours. Like I just love existing in the Naruto world.
Yeah.
The art style is amazing. The design work is amazing. The like power system is super fun and cool.
Yeah.
I'm like Naruto's like my favorite thing. Like it's I love it desperately. So I gotta ask, let's just start here. What do you remember from the old show? Do you remember any of the powers? Do you remember any of the world building, like characters? Like, because I know I've shown you a clip or two, and you've been like, "Oh, I remember this."
Yeah. We watched the intros, right?
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, this is the intro that I remember." I remember. I mean, like, I remember like some things about the world that they're all training, to become ninjas or whatever. I know that. Naruto has a couple of his power, or he duplicates himself. I remember that very clearly. I also remember the pervy, sexy Naruto.
Yeah. Which you can buy a Funko Pop of.
Of course you can.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I remember like some of the characters and the character dynamics. I don't remember their names. Yeah, like, having watched this movie, I don't remember their names. I remember
you had to go like, so what's Sasuke's deal in the anime?
Yeah.
Which is a perfectly justifiable thing because his deal doesn't really come out until later.
Yeah, it's like the funny thing about this movie is it reminds me of when John Mulaney had his show Mulaney.
Yeah.
And it was like the 4th episode or something like that where they had like a character swap.
Yeah.
And so like everybody's personalities were different. And I heard like a complaint about that show was like, we don't know these characters yet. So like a personality swap doesn't work because we don't know their personalities well enough yet.
Yeah.
And so this movie was like kind of that experience because like the personalities are so large right at the beginning of the movie, and then they are so different when you cut to the second part.
So the another reason I thought this would be a funny one to show you is because it's so many layers deep of stupid.
Also kind of meta.
That's what I mean. For the context of showing someone who's never seen it, you get like one scene of a bunch of the characters that will be in the movie with their normal personalities, and then immediately they get put into it's called genjutsu. This is like the mental. Some people fight with that, where they just use chakra to mess with your brain and put you in an illusion. and this is like a very heightened version of that, where they get dropped into another world that is like a mirror image of their own, getting something they desire, but then the world ripples. So like Kiba is the dog user, and he loves cats now, and Akamaru hates him. You know what I mean? It's like Hinata's the super bashful, like timid, shy, kind person, and this she's the brash and angry and aggressive, and so it flips everyone, which I also thought was really funny to drop you in and be like this isn't what this is. But
every time there was a character on screen doing a big thing, I'm going, okay, so they're the bashful one. Like, and he was like, yes. I was like, oh, they're usually very smart, right?
Until it shows Minito, and he's the exact same.
Yeah.
That was maybe the funniest thing for me, is like certain characters would pop up and I was like, oh, so they're just themselves. Like they're too cool to change.
Yeah, you can't change that.
And part of the reason I want to do this too is I just don't think there's ever going to be a chance for us to talk about Naruto on this. Because it's like hundreds of episodes long. Like we would have to do like literally like 5 Naruto episodes to make it possible. And I don't know that you're that interested in going through it in that way. I mean, maybe alone you'd watch it, but Naruto admittedly is a very tough show to like just watch with someone. Yeah. Unless you're like dedicating nightly to it. Yeah. Like that's how my brother and sister-in-law did it, is they just, after they would put their kids to bed, they would watch like 2 episodes and then go to bed every night. Because it's 700 episodes long.
Jesus
and like
H. Christ.
Now, mind you can skip a lot. Yeah. There's a lot of filler that doesn't apply, and you can skip it. But I just wanted a chance to talk about Naruto, and I thought this was a funny way in.
What do you think the chances are of a Kai-like edit of Naruto?
So I'll show you after this. Someone did a reanimation of key scenes.
See, I'm not even talking about reanimation. I'm just talking about like
it's the only way to do it.
Filler cutting and literally.
Well, yes and no.
I mean, because like Kai does that a little bit, where they reanimate some scenes to like bridge gaps.
Yes, but Naruto, a lot of Naruto episodes are half filler, half. You know what I mean? Now, they're better about it being literally half. Yeah. But you'd have to reshuffle and edit so much of Naruto. Like, you could do it. Yeah. There's a version where you could do it, but people are wanting a reanimation of it. I kind of don't, unless they uncensor a lot of things. There's like a guy in the Naruto show. You may have gotten there. It's kind of early-ish by anime standards, where he like fights with his bones. Like he can literally like grow bones and pull them out of his body. So in the manga it's like super grotesque, and in the anime it's like, and it's out. There's no like gore coming out with it.
You should do Foley sounds. You're really good at doing that stuff. Yeah. For the ASMR people in the audience.
Sorry about that.
No. You should, but you're good at that. You should do that.
So that's like, if they did that, I'll show you that video where they like side by side, they reanimate key moments and key scenes from the first Naruto show. I think there's a world in which it happens. Somebody did it. Somebody cut Naruto down themselves, and I don't know how good it is, and it's only the dub. So I have and I don't really know where to find it. I could look into it, but so somebody did it.
I can find it,
but it like I don't know how good it was. And it's the dub, so a lot of major fans are like not as into it.
Fascinating.
So yeah, like maybe I think there's a world in which it happens. Yeah. But mind you, I again, Naruto's that thing where it's like I skip the filler because I don't have time for 13 episodes on a boat that has nothing to do with anything. Yeah. Consecutive episodes, there's no breaks.
Of course not.
But I love that world. Like I said, I could just sit there and watch like videos of just Naruto world imagery. Like I just am into it. Yeah. And I love the characters so much that I don't mind spending the time, but I also do understand that it takes like a year and a half to watch this show if you're on it the entire time.
Like if busting through
if you're watching at least 10 episodes a week. Which, mind you,
I've got RuPaul's Drag Race to watch. I can't devote that time.
Look, I get it.
Hey, shout out to Drag Race. I've been having a lot of fun with Drag Race recently.
So what is your interest level in watching Naruto?
It's like, okay, if I would put it on like a tier list of things that I want, of anime that I want to watch, it's definitely high on that list. It's just not number one. So it's like finishing Dragon Ball Z in a certain, getting to, I think maybe like Cell.
I think you wanted to finish Cell, and then, which is where Kai and the Kai at its best ends, and then it gets picked up in another country and not done as well.
Right. So I think Cell Saga, getting through Cell Saga, and then like Neon Genesis and Cowboy Bebop, I think are right, but those are also like short.
Yeah, they're like 26 episodes and a movie.
And then Demon Slayer, I think might be slightly above Naruto, just because I know how much you like that one.
I do like. I'll be curious what you think of Demon Slayer because it's super cool. It has issues, like it has pacing issues, and certain characters are kind of annoying, but also other characters are great and super fun in a big over the top way.
Yeah,
I love Demon Slayer. I've seen I've seen all of it. I've gone to the theater to watch their like event things. Like,
yeah,
I really like Demon Slayer. I really like the characters, but
and it's so popular right now. Like I know, like people really. Hey, you're wearing the Demon Slayer shirt.
The Demon Slayer shirt.
I know how much people really like that one. So, and then I think kind of tied with each other is Naruto and Attack on Titan.
Okay, Attack on Titan. I think you'll really like Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
Attack on Titan is metal as hell.
Yeah.
Now, I don't like the ending, but I don't think anyone likes the ending.
Ooh, fascinating. Okay, I didn't know that actually.
I think the manga had issues, and then they didn't change it for the show.
Ooh, interesting. I didn't know that.
It is like it's frustrating because like by the end I'm just kind of numb to it.
Yeah.
But like for like 3/4 of its run or more, it's so fucking good.
Yeah.
Attack on Titan is a really good show.
Attack on Titan is a really good show. Shout out to, or actually maybe don't shout out to Filthy Frank.
Yeah.
Rip. Shout out to Joji. Joji's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, so that's. I think that tracks mostly for me of what I thought you would be wanting to watch.
Yeah.
Not including like movies and stuff.
Oh,
I think
yeah,
like
I'm not.
Perfect Blue would be really high on your
I am
things
definitely.
like
Yeah,
that.
I'm not including movies. Yeah, Paprika and like there's a bunch of stuff that I've really wanted to watch, anime movie wise.
Yeah, but it's different.
But
it's
if we're talking shows, I think that's kind of. I think that kind of fills it up. I mean, there's like some other ones that I'm like loosely interested in, or just like not interested. Like no tea, no shade to One Piece fans. I can't. That is an even bigger undertaking than.
In all honesty, I would be quicker to read One Piece than I would be to watch it. Yeah, and I don't want to read One Piece.
And like, again, no shade to One Piece. It's just like that. The world doesn't really grab me, and everything that I like know about One Piece is just not. Doesn't seem like my vibe as much.
I think you would very much like One Punch Man because One
Punch Man is definitely up there in my interest level.
I've only seen the first season of One Punch Man because it only got 2 seasons, then it was canceled. But it's coming back now.
Yeah, okay.
In the first season, you could watch that and be done. It's 13 episodes long.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It's like very
It's like a succinct little...
Yeah.
Okay,
it's like very anthology-y where it's like there's through...
Oh, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, there are through lines, but really it's like what's the villain of the week and what does it mean character-wise?
Yeah.
Like
I love that.
One Punch Man is... And it's also so... that is about a guy becoming the strongest man in the world and realizing he's super depressed because no one will ever challenge him again.
Yeah.
Like
I love that. And I love that about anime of everything. It's like... It's the fucking like Goku of it all, of him just being like, I'm gonna keep this dude alive because I want to beat the shit out of him later.
Yeah.
Like, it's like I want to keep him alive so I can train against him.
Yeah, it's One Punch Man's rad, and we should watch One Punch Man soon.
I'm into that.
It's so quick.
I super want to watch Neon Genesis or
Cowboy
Bebop because like again like I know those are so much shorter. Those will be
Cowboy
quick to
Bebop will be like a 3-episode thing though.
Oh,
like 3 podcast episodes.
I love
and
it.
And they may each be a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But my reason for saying that we're not even talking about Naruto.
We'll get to Naruto.
My reason for saying that is I think Cowboy Bebop is like a good show for the first 4 episodes, and then you watch episode 5 and you're like, holy God.
Yeah.
And so I think that is a really interesting conversation. And
getting through episode 5 or getting through episode 4?
No, getting through episode 5.
Okay.
And because I think it's an interesting because literally for me, I had heard that. I'd heard everyone be like, get through the first like 5 episodes, just telling me that.
Yeah.
And I really liked it at the beginning, but then I was watching it on my phone in some waiting room for something. And I got 5 minutes into episode 5 and went, boop, I'm watching this at home on a big TV. Holy shit, this is so good.
What are you willing to watch on a phone?
It just depends on the situation.
Because like if it comes to like, unless it's something I have seen before, I ain't watching it.
And that's usually my rule. I just didn't have anything that I was like rewatching at the time. And so I was just like, I had to be there for like 15 minutes and I was like, I don't just want to scroll Twitter.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. Phone screens are really good now.
Yeah.
Like, look, if this was 8 years ago,
No.
that'd be there would be some judgment there. But it's like phone screens are great. You hold it a little close, it's a good enough experience. You got headphones on, it's a good enough experience.
But like if it's something I really care about, I'll stop and move on. But so I think that, and then I would find the next chunk, and then the last couple episodes would be their own like wrap up kind of whole experience lessons, like do the whole thing that way,
right?
Instead of doing lessons each time or something, you know what I mean? Like I think doing something like that. But and I still haven't seen the movie, so maybe the movie could be part of that. We could finally track it down and watch it.
Yeah,
the movie's like out of print and really expensive.
We could track it down somehow.
And we could find it and rent it, I'm sure. But so all of that. I really want to show you Cowboy Bebop. I
super want to watch Cowboy Bebop.
Look, Cowboy Bebop's one of those things where you're like, you watch it and every 3 episodes you're like, that's where that came from.
Yeah.
Like, I would argue Bebop is maybe one of the most influential things, period.
Yeah.
In the same way that like anime tends to be, like Perfect Blue influences everything. You know? Bebop is the same way.
Right.
And Naruto.
I like the little
commercial break. Let's fade to black really quick, like they did.
We'll
be
right back after these commercial messages. Do you like how I said messages? I really
did say
stumbled
one more
on.
time. Can we just get 3 just for safety?
Messages.
Perfect.
There you go.
That's one of my favorite SNL bits. Is they're like they tried to get this thing on air where they're like, who's the impression? It was some guy doing an impression of like a tragic event or something, and he's like, I'll give you 3. John Lennon. John Lennon. It's Bill Hader. It's amazing. Look up that. I can't remember he talks about that.
Come on the pod.
Please. I would love to talk about Barry with you.
Truly.
And the horror movie apparently you want to direct next.
King.
Okay, so actually Naruto now. So you have interest in Naruto.
Yeah.
Partly there's a little bit of nostalgia because I'm sure like your siblings watched it.
Yeah, my sister, and I think my brother was into it too, but my sister for sure was watching it when we were younger. And so it was just like on when I was around. And so like, like I remember certain bits and pieces, but I don't remember like story elements. I just remember kind of like visuals and like kind of character kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Road to Ninja is an interesting place, and this was a deeply fun experience for me because every 10 minutes I'd be like, so actually in the world of Naruto, the Sharingan is really this, and I start explaining the lore to somebody who's never seen, which is, if you've never done that, do that. It's really fun to force a friend to watch something.
This man loves mansplaining.
I specifically love mansplaining Naruto.
Hey man. Hey, if you're gonna mansplain anything, why not? It should be anime.
It should be anime. So the experience of watching this for you, later, because like I don't necessarily like this movie. I like things about this movie.
Yeah.
What was your experience watching it? Was it like ever frustrating? You're like, what the fuck is happening? Or was it more just like, let it wash over me, let it move on? Like,
never frustrating. The only things that the things that didn't work for me were just specifically like understanding the world stuff, not necessarily like the like story that was happening, or like the character relationships, or like even most of the lore.
Yeah,
I was able to pick up pretty quick, and I was on board. The things that just didn't work for me was just like following along with certain conversations where they're just like very technical about the where they are in their training, and he's like
I put a seal on that, and so you're like, what?
It's like even that kind of thing. Like I'm able to kind of like follow along, but it's like kind of like when they're talking about like becoming the levels of ninja or whatever, or like the levels within school. Like what is it like?
So it's once you graduate ninja elementary school, you become a genin. And then you're a genin on a squad of 3 with a jonin teacher. So like Kakashi was Naruto's teacher when he was a genin, and throughout for a long time he becomes their team leader. But then you have to do this thing called the tuning exam, right? And you level up, and you can do more difficult missions. You can do different things like that,
right?
And then after that, when you become like a full-fledged ninja, you're a jonin. Yeah. And then after jonin, it's like Anbu Black Ops Hokage.
Yeah.
And like one person per
Hokage
village
is one thing I very much remember.
Yeah.
It's like, I will be the 6th, 7th, 12th, 5th. I can't remember.
He just said Hokage. He inevitably becomes the 7th Hokage.
Oh, okay.
Because I could tell you. I don't know if you're.
Hokages happen.
And then each village has a different. So there's the Hokage, the Raikage, the Kazekage, the Sudokaze.
Sudokaze?
I can't remember. I can't remember.
Because what a fun way.
Then there's another one. I haven't watched Naruto in years, and I'm going to rewatch it soon. I'm very excited.
Okay.
But so each village has a different. So they're not all the Hokage. Like the Sand Village is the Kazekage.
Yeah.
And whatever. They're at conflict, but also they all do the Chunin exam together, so they know people from different villages. It's a whole thing. It's like genuinely the Chunin arc in Naruto is like way too long, but it's also so good that I kind of don't care.
Yeah. I think some of the other thing that didn't a couple of things that I was just I think even now I'm a little confused about was some of the antagonist motivations. So right at the beginning of the movie, they're fighting that
the Akatsuki.
The Akatsuki.
But
then they show up and they're kind of mercenary goodish guy. So it's what's happening with them at the beginning of the movie?
The Akatsuki in Naruto and Naruto Shippuden are hunting down the Jinchuriki, which are this is going to be a really fun conversation for everyone at home. They're hunting down the Jinchuriki, who are the people that are possessed by the spirit of a tailed beast, 1 through 9.
Okay, yeah.
So Naruto has the 9-tailed fox in him, which is the biggest and strongest one.
Yeah.
And so he's the Jinchuriki for that. So what the Akatsuki are doing for some mysterious reason, with 12 layers of betrayal and misleading and reasons for each member of the Akatsuki doing it, they are hunting down the Jinchuriki. But they say at the beginning, they're most of these guys should be dead because we've killed them.
Yeah.
By that point in the show. And the funny part about that is the opening of that movie is so silly because it makes the Akatsuki seem so weak if you don't know. Because each member of the Akatsuki could probably beat most of all of those people at the same time by themselves. They're that level of crazy strong. It always takes some insane thing to win against them.
Because it was all the at this point in the show, what level are all the people that we saw? Because most of them are kids still, right? They're not full.
Yeah, they're 16 is the pretty base age for these guys,
and they're fighting this mission against 9 or however many it was.
So most of them are Chunin, and a lot of the time when they end up fighting the Akatsuki in Naruto, it's not because they're sent out to get them,
right?
It's because they show up and they're just in this situation.
And see, that's what I'm saying is they're y'all are ready for this. Let's go fight all 9 of them right now.
Yeah, no,
is it 9 of them?
I can't remember.
36 of them. There's 45,000 of them.
Yeah, Akatsuki members show up and leave and die and come back. It's a whole thing.
So that's kind of a weird thing that they would be having this mission with these people to fight the Akatsuki.
Yes, in the Akatsuki generally run in 2s. That's the other thing. So they're almost never all together. Yeah. That's a whole big part of it too. And so again, by that point, they're all dead. It makes the Akatsuki seem weak. But for so much of Naruto, every time one of them shows up, you're like, well, somebody's going to die, which often happens.
Is that a big thing in the show? Are there a lot of character deaths?
No.
Yeah.
It's not like a thing. I mean, people do die and big characters die and stay dead. But a lot of times it's other losses that happen. It's a character named Gaara, who's one of my favorite characters. He dies and comes back, but there's part of him that's lost, and so he's never quite as strong. But he becomes a leader, and it's a whole thing. Yeah. I love Gaara. Gaara's one of those first characters I remember being oh, he's tragic. He's not just evil. You know what I mean? Love it. The anime is a great place to learn about character things because they're really big. You know what I mean? Tracking an arc in anime is so much easier. Yeah. So when you're learning to really do it and understand why characters work, it's a great place to start.
The other thing that I was confused about, I understand now. For some reason, I thought it was just Naruto's dad that was dead. I don't know why. I thought for some reason, I was reading the beginning of it as Naruto's mom is like a deadbeat in some way, shape, or form because the dad is not around. She's depressed, or you know what I mean. That was just how I read it for some reason.
Yeah, which is
I didn't read it as him being completely an orphan.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know why. I don't know why I read it like that.
Naruto's dad, for a long time in the anime, was a secret.
Yeah.
Nobody knew it was the 4th Hokage. You know what I mean? Because the only thing you ever heard is the 4th Hokage wanted Naruto to be remembered as a hero for taking on the burden of the Jinchuriki. Naruto's mom was the Jinchuriki before him. which is, there's some lore to that too, where like you have to have just a massive amount of chakra yourself to handle it. And the Uzumaki clan, which is his mom and then now him, have a massive amount of chakra, so they can do things other people can't. Like Naruto's shadow clone jutsu, like that thing where he multiplies himself. He's the only one who can do it like that. Like everyone else can make like 1 or 2 clones, and he can make like 100.
Yeah.
Lore drop.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun for the rest of the episode. Just lore drop.
So his mom also died. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. His mom was.
And obviously, I picked that up later, but it was like at the beginning of the movie. It's like when he has that conversation of like with the teacher guy with the scar across his nose.
Iruka.
Where he was like, "Could you sign?" Because it again, that kind of just read to me like, well, she can't do it because she's the way she is. But could you do it? Because like I think that conversation makes like less sense knowing that she is dead. Because like. What? He doesn't have a parent who would sign it. You know what I mean?
And I think there's another problem there because Naruto at the end of Naruto leaves the village to go train with Jiraiya, the guy who you see momentarily like walk through the forest like dying. He's the guy that summons the toads, and I love Jiraiya. He's crazy.
Is he the one we cut to like when he when Naruto loses his memory? That's the same guy, right?
He's the guy teaching him how to use the Rasengan.
Okay, right.
So. Jiraiya, what was I saying? Crap. Memory.
Why wouldn't that person sign the exam?
Naruto leaves with Jiraiya. He leaves the village on a mission for 2 years, which he gets approval to do. That's why he's not like Sasuke, who like abandons the village.
Right.
Oh, that's the other thing about the Akatsuki. They all have like a slash to their headband because they're all wanted in their specific villages. But so Naruto leaves.
Lore drop.
Yeah, lore drop. Naruto leaves with Jiraiya. And when he comes back, he finds out all of his friends are now Chunin, and he's still a Genin. And then that remains the same for the rest of the show, where Naruto becomes one of the strongest people ever to live, and he's still a Genin. Like it becomes like a running joke amongst them. They're all like, "Get back! You're not whatever." It's
just because he doesn't have a parent to sign off on the exam.
Well, no, because that's also made up for the movie. You don't have to have.
Okay.
That. Like,
okay.
I think I think maybe for a kid to be well, no, because in the show, Neji becomes a Jonin like in that 2-year time because he's like a little bit older, so he becomes a Chunin and then a Jonin. Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
So yeah, that was part of the thing I was a little confused about. It's like, well, then why wouldn't he just like even within the lore of this movie, even if that isn't at the show at large, like if his mom is dead because she is, and I just misread that situation, why wouldn't he sign it? Why wouldn't he?
I think it's very much just trying to set up that Naruto has parent issues, and
right.
I think it's very much overtly trying to, which like if you watch the show, you know that's a big part of it because when he meets his dad for the first time, he tries to beat the shit out of him.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
so it's like those kind of like small things where it was just like me not understanding the lore, or there being just like a little bit of like mix, just trying to set up character, character choices or like character dynamics that may not make a bunch of sense.
And again, it's part of that is the movie. Like I said, the Sharingan can't just make you erase people's memories left and right. Like I'm sure someone has that power, but it's not something it just does. Right.
But other than that, I don't know, man. This movie worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was getting a little almost misty at the end of the movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like the emotionally, I don't know, it plays, man. Yeah. The movie plays.
And so that is also the big reason watching it, I was like, shoot, I actually do think I have some stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
And we'll start with like tropes first. It is amazing that anime is so outside of like the anime has its own set of tropes.
Yeah.
That come over, but mostly because Americans picked up on it and made that popular as creatives got into anime and then grew up to make things.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's part of it, but like, man, it feels like some of these are just tropes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the other universe, Elseworld thing where like they're opposites and this.
When did this come out? I actually don't know.
Like 20.
I got it. You keep talking.
Anyway, I was really like caught up in that this time of like, wow, it feels very much like this is like a universal thing. If you were to do, what if this happened? What would change in the world? And so your inclination is to just swap things.
2012.
Like as a trope, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah.
And I said the other thing that I thought was really interesting is, like Marvel is famous for this like what if stories, right? Like in the comics, then they made that show. where they're like, what if this, and they just change the world.
Yeah.
What I like about this one, and there's been other movies like Happy Death Day 2 did this, where like there's a world change and a character's brought back, and every reason you understand this character would not want to leave. Naruto gets his parents back in this. So it becomes a tragic choice when he has to go, I don't belong here. I need to go back to my world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes that so difficult and hard.
Yeah.
And for a character like Naruto, so lost and so angry about this, to make that choice is huge.
No,
you know what I mean?
I was like, when I loved the choice that they made at first where he's like, he doesn't even want to look at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, they're fake. They're not real. I can't even look at them. But then like, you know, he goes to the house and he's there with them, and she literally blows. You know, he's like, leave me alone. Like I'm just let me be in here and y'all, whatever. And then she blows through, and they like have to have dinner together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it forces him to engage, and then it starts to chip away at that resolve.
It's not just immediate.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like it treats it like an actual story.
Yeah.
And Naruto makes the decision Naruto would make.
Right.
And I agree with you. I think that's awesome. And the thing that sways him is later on the mission whenever she like almost dies for him. And he's like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Because he's never had a parent. He doesn't understand that. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah. And it's like, and it isn't until the end when they're making like the selfish choice that he's like, oh, wait, no, these aren't my parents.
Yeah.
It's like, no, my parents made the selfless choice to save the village. Those were my real parents. These people who are being like selfish for their child, but are making a somewhat selfish choice against the village.
Yeah.
That is the thing that he was like, okay, wait, no. Like these are not my real parents.
Yeah.
My parents died for this village, to save this village.
Yeah. And especially when you realize like the lore of the other half of that is that, I mean, you see it briefly. You see like the demon thing floating behind Minito with like somebody standing, he's got a knife in his mouth. The lore of it is that Minito shoves half of the Nine Tails chakra in himself and then lets his soul be eaten by the Reaper. Yeah. And it puts him in the Reaper's belly for eternity, where he's just in like rage and battle, like is all it is. Like that's the sacrifice he's making. Yeah. It's so literal and overt. Yeah. In the way that anime does correctly. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's like, you really like feel that you're like, oh shit. Yeah. Like selflessness is everything to these people. Yeah. And then you're right. They flip it and it's a selfish world, and that's what makes him realize. Yeah. It's good shit. That works. That's like just kind of good shit. Super fundamental good shit, man. Yeah. And they do it really well. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. That super worked for me. The other thing I'm like 1% disappointed in, I thought the fights would be cooler. This is not the best fight one. Yeah. Naruto is definitely older when it comes to the fights, and the fights are much more like strategy, technical. You watch a piece at a time. You watch if we wanted the best like fight in one of these movies, we would have watched Boruto, which then the show reanimated that fight and made it better. Like they completely change what happens in it, but it's way cooler. Yeah. Yeah, the fight, maybe I'll just show you the fight in Boruto just so you can get a good Naruto fight. But yeah, the fights were not the best. It's not like bad. Although it does give you one of the great like dodge your fist and hit you in the face, and his face fully like crushes and goes to the side. There's a couple of those moments that were really sick. Yeah. But it's like overall the fights like just like didn't fully do it. But again, it's like I don't know, like but the again like the emotionality and like where the characters were all super worked for me. So it's like it's like a little thing. Yeah. It's monkey brain going. I want big fight. But you deserve a big fight. I deserve big fight. No, I agree with that. This is not. There's a thing that I thought was in this movie that's not in this movie, and I'm gonna have to look up where it was from. But anyway, the fights in this one are not the best. But it is what it is. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's got good animation. Yeah. It's got cool animation. Like, I think, honestly, the best fight moment is when the Otherworld Akatsuki show up. And it's just this, like, giant sequence of them fighting all the other things just really quickly. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah. And, like, the funny thing is, there's, like, a lot of the, like, kind of, like, power stuff and like specific character stuff that you were like, oh, by the way, and I was like, I got it. Like, you know what I mean? It was like
Naruto's dad like throwing the like shuriken or whatever,
The
and
kunai.
that those were the places that he could
Yeah.
appear at, or or transport to,
Yeah.
whatever the verbiage would be. Like that kind of stuff. I was like, I got it. I picked it up. Like,
Another really cool thing that he can do is anything that's actually it's like really hard to do sealing jutsu in the world. Like it's not something that everyone can do.
Right.
And he's like famously good at it.
Yeah.
So he makes those seals, but he can also anyone he touches, he can instantly put one on. So if he like needs to be able to teleport to somebody, like in the show, famously in the fight where he like does the flipping, shows it where he like throws the knife through the guy's head and then teleports around and smashes him. He also tags him with one, so he can teleport to him later and fight him again.
sick.
And the guy doesn't know, so he's like about to win, and then all of a sudden, it's
amazing.
It's awesome.
Amazing.
But yeah, it's pretty intuitive for the most part.
So the Red Moon Scroll.
Fucking bullshit. Bullshit for this movie.
The only reason they needed it was because they like that was like total red herring, right?
Yeah.
Like they needed it because that was the thing that would get them to this place, but the actual scroll meant nothing, right?
Orange Mask Madara guy he's like, I can't believe the prophecy was real, and it's like, no, it wasn't. You cut the scroll in half. He looked at a little swirl and came back and beat the shit out of you. Like,
but at the same time, like they needed to get it for, you know what I mean? Like, they needed the scroll for the person in the mask to come and destroy the village for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like in that way it is important.
It
It's just but actually reading what was on the scroll doesn't matter.
Yeah, because he literally cuts it in half. I mean,
right.
It's you're like, okay.
Because the power was inside him all along.
The power was inside him all along.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to double check that. Because like I think that's actually a little cool. Like because like it is needed, but not for what's actually in the scroll. It was needed for to get people where they needed to be. So it's like a red herring in that way. I mean, it's like the Maltese Falcon. You know what I mean? Like it isn't about the Maltese Falcon, but it is about the Maltese Falcon. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was really interesting. It's a weird thing. But I like it.
Yeah, there are other powers in it that I'd be curious, like Sage Mode. Do you know how Sage Mode works?
Is that when he gets the orange eyeshadow?
Yeah, and that his eyes change. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how. Obviously, he needs to like meditate.
Yeah.
In order to.
So essentially, what he's doing, Lord Drop. Essentially what he's doing is he's taking in this like nature chakra that's outside of him, and he has to like he's the only there's like very 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 few characters who can do Sage Mode at all in any way, and he perfected it.
Yeah.
And so there's a great moment in it that I love that they kept in the movie because it's one of my favorite things that the show does. Is he'll make a shadow clone, he'll put him over in the background, use a bunch of others to distract. That one shadow clone will activate Sage Mode. He'll delete that shadow clone and that chakra rushes back to him.
Oh, cool.
And so then he gets it. So like and it has a time limit, like it's like 15 minutes or something he can use it. And it makes him like physically way stronger. He has way more chakra. He can do things. He can like sense things. It's really cool world. Like in this, they use it to make him punch real good.
But boy, can that boy conch? Can that boy conch?
He really can.
That boy can punch.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do wish we had watched one with better fights, but it is what it is.
It's a small thing.
Like that's the thing. Most anime movies you watch for the one cool, really great fight that you. Because in the other thing I want to talk about this is like weird. We had a conversation about like selfless characters, talking about selfishness in art, where it's like these Elseworld stories, and it's selfishness in a very like loose, abstract, like not like it's not immoral in any way.
Right.
It is just all of these artists, these voice actors, these writers, these animators, all of these people who now just get to, and I think this of anime movies in general, they get a freebie just to play.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about grander story.
I love that.
They literally just get to, like, all the voice actors get to go, I get to be different this time and play with it. Or, the villains get to be heroes. The super energetic guys get to play around with the character. Like, what if they were really, like, lazy and stiff?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I think that is super, super fun.
Yeah.
And super cool for these guys just for the love of making stuff and the love of these characters, just to flip them and play with something different for once. I think that's a really cool idea that I never really thought of with a lot of these like body swap or Elseworld characters or like the John Mulaney thing, like personality swaps. Like, I've never really thought of it as like this, like just the love of the act of creation kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's super
I love
fun.
that about what if stories. I love that about it. It's because it's like we especially for like long running series or that kind of thing where it's like we know what this is. But boy, howdy, would I love to see what these characters would be like if they were in this situation.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's super fun. Like, I don't love the Marvel What If show.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a couple of episodes that I think are actually really good. And then there's like several that I'm not super into. But it's like that idea of taking this world, taking these characters and doing something different and weird with it. Like, not only is like satisfying from a story perspective, and I think you can learn a lot of things about these characters if you put them in a different world. But also, yeah, just like literally just for the love of the game, like what you were describing, like for the animators, for the voice actors, for all of these people, I bet it's just a blast to be like, okay, this version of this character that I've been playing super meek for years at this point, I get to scream as, I get to be mean, or the reverse. It's like this person who's like an asshole, and I only can play as an asshole. Like, obviously they're more layered than that. But
their general personality is pretty there.
But now I get to take that voice and take that character and make it silly, or make them or make them like overly bashful, and how that, like, just from a performance perspective, let alone from writing, directing, and all that kind of stuff, animating. I bet that's like an absolute blast to do.
Man.
And it's like super fun as an audience. Like, for me, like, again, like, I don't have the long history with these characters, but even I was able to pick up the fun moments of like, oh, that person's usually, that person, their dog usually isn't like that. Usually he's a good dog, right?
Yeah.
You see the dude with the dog, and the dog's like, all cute and dog-like. And then when they flip, it's like the first thing that happens that to like alert that this world is wrong is that the dog bites the shit out of him, and he goes, "I wish you were a cat."
Yeah. Well, and I told you, like, emotionally, for me, seeing Naruto wear his dad's cloak, is like huge. Yeah, and we get a whole sequence where he's fighting in it. Yeah. It's like so awesome, and from a purely wish fulfillment fan service. Look, here's the thing: I don't love fan service generally, but occasionally in a situation like this, I'm a fan. Service me. You know what I mean? Like,
when it's non-canon and it's like, you know what I mean?
Let
like,
it exist and do the thing you've always wanted to do.
That's so fun.
There's a My Hero movie, the best My Hero movie, has one of those moments where you get to see something you would never ever see in a canon thing because it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But I'm so glad I've seen it because it's awesome.
That's the beauty of the non-canon stuff, is like, okay, it won't work for the series at large, but
it's a cool idea.
You can set up this world in this way, in this environment, to make it work.
Yeah. And you still have to play within character, like in like other ones, you still have to play with like characters as who they are, what would they do in the situation. And those are the best ones where it's like, oh, if they faced this, how would they get out of it? It's like stuff like that's amazing. Or doing what Naruto, the Road to Ninja, did and flipping it.
Yeah.
I just think there's something like really inspiring about that.
Yeah.
Because I've said for a long time that please steal this. Like, I will never be able to do it. But Drew Goddard, please, for the love of God, make a series on Cabin in the Woods where it gets to the point where they're selecting, and then each episode is a different one that gets picked and how that plays out.
That's so good.
I have said for years I want, and it has to be the same characters. So essentially you're releasing like 6 movies, which is crazy, but do it. Trim them down, make them an hour each, and like the first 15 minutes is the setup.
Yeah.
So you only have to film that, and then you just film 45 minutes something different, like an episode of something different, so you can watch them all as a movie.
Right.
I want that so bad.
That would be sick.
It would be amazing. Stuff like that is always so interesting to me. It's like, well, what if this happened? What if this character made a different choice? What if they had to fight something different? Would they win?
Yeah.
You know what I love that. I think that's so cool. Anyway. That's that. Any other stuff on Naruto? It was, again, deeply fun for me to go. So here's the lore. Here's, that Toad smoking. He's Chief Toad.
Yeah.
They summon him with a blood pact. It's great. They have to sign a scroll.
So obviously there's some like lore-y kind of stuff that they had, Hugh Laurie kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There's some like lore related stuff that like kind of had to change for like, the parent signature for the shooting exam and like that kind of thing. As far as character, like, so there's that kind of things that kind of changed. Like, obviously, like, are there characters that are slightly tweaked to make more sense in this world? I mean, obviously, I'm not talking about like when they make the big shift at the end, but like, do the characters make sense, or does it feel like they had to make some changes there to also fit the world, or is it specifically just kind of like lore plot?
It's mostly lore stuff. There's a few of the like personality flips that don't quite work, like Kakashi and these two. Guy Sensei is one of the best characters in the thing. He is like so like spirit of youth, and I'm this. Yeah. And I'm a physical strength with that guy. And Kakashi's very much like the technical master. Kakashi's the guy who's like in lore. He's like learned 1,000 jutsu, and he's so good. But he's also like, you are too much. Please, can we? I'm tired. I want to read my book. Yeah. They don't flip them. They just make both of them more intense versions of Kakashi's lazier stuff. Because Kakashi's like Kakashi is like renowned across the ninja world, and everyone who runs into him knows who he is and is a little afraid of him. Right. You know, he's like that kind of character. And they just make him like, I actually kind of overdid it a little bit. I'm going to sit for a while. Like that kind of, and it just doesn't really work. Yeah. So some of the flips like don't quite understand the base character enough. Okay. But also Kakashi's in the movie for all of 7 minutes.
Yeah, he's like barely in it.
Which is, I in my opinion, is one of those where they're like, we really don't want to make Kakashi not cool. So
we can't
fuck with that one.
It's Kakashi. We can't screw it up.
Who is, in my opinion, like top 5 most famous and beloved anime characters ever. I think. Like, anyway, there's a few things like that.
Bulma.
Yeah, it's like Nappa. Anyway, it's Bulma. What a pull.
Yeah. It's just Bulma.
Number one Bulma. Anyway, so it's
overall, I legitimately the movie worked on an emotional level for me more than I thought it would.
That's amazing.
Like legitimately. Again, like I said, like by the end when it's like him making that choice, like realizing that it isn't his parents, like that was emotional. Like that worked for me. The scene, like flashback to them like sacrificing themselves for the and Naruto in a lot of ways for the village. That was super emotional. That worked for me.
Dude, in the show, it's like it's brutal.
I can't even imagine. But even just the smaller version in the movie worked really well for me. You know, like so like overall like. I liked it better than I just realized I don't think I logged it.
I did not.
I need to log it. I liked it like I liked it quite a bit. I liked it more than I thought it would. Because like when we had this discussion, you were like, you know, like it's not the best one. You know what I mean? Like you kind of like hedged it a little bit. I liked it more than I thought it would based off of your kind of hedging.
Hey, look, that's great. Again, for me, it's I just any chance. That's why I watch a lot of the Naruto movies. I just any chance because I don't like Boruto. I don't like the sequel series. But any chance I get to like live in this world, I just take. Because Naruto is one of those things that I think is like Dragon Ball Z, where it will forever be relevant and famous.
Right.
And I've made actual lifelong friendships over my love of Naruto with people who like
me. No, okay.
You.
I love that he loves it so much. No, I do love that you love it. But
I was trying to get my cousin to watch it because he lived in Japan for a while, speaks Japanese, is super into that like anime and cultural stuff. So we were like, dude, you gotta watch Naruto. And he's like, maybe. I'm like, no, you have to watch Naruto. And then Jacob, the guy in my short film, who's like one of my best friends, he's engaged to my aunt. He's one of the best people ever. Yeah. He just walks over and I didn't hardly know him. He's like, are y'all talking about Naruto? And then we just went off on it.
Love
and like,
it.
Dude, Naruto. We've gotten like so many people to watch it. And like everyone who gets into it's like, this is the best. Like, Naruto rules. Naruto will bring you together. There was a meme going around I told you about a while back where I can't remember who posted it, but they're like, I heard my roommate's getting in a fight. And then she shouted, Naruto would hate you. And then I heard him start crying.
That's funniest shit of all time.
The meest shit of all time is to cry if somebody told me Naruto would hate me.
Yeah.
It's that kind of
Naruto
thing.
would love you.
He better. Because I love him.
Naruto would like you. You and Naruto would hang.
We would hang.
Yeah.
I'd be friends with Naruto.
I think you have a similar, very strong work ethic.
Yeah. Naruto, maybe. I don't know.
You and him would get along.
Anyway, so that's Naruto. Talking lessons now, I guess. Like, is there anything for you?
I think this one's a little tougher for me just because I think understanding the context would be a lot about like what could be gleaned. Yeah. That being said, like I think one things that this movie does well from an outsider's perspective is like I think it does set up a lot of the character dynamics, a lot of the personalities really well at the very beginning of the movie. Quickly.
Yeah.
In order for the character swaps to like work. A little bit of that was a little lost in translation for me, but like most of it super worked.
Yeah.
Like the overall lore of the world worked for the most part. There was like a couple of character things that like I don't know if it was just like my misunderstanding because I wasn't like I just wasn't like paying attention to the right things, or if it was like possibly things could have been put a little different that for me to understand it better. But overall, like even without all of this context, I was there for all of the big emotional beats and the plot as a whole. You know, like obviously there's like little intricacies that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
But like I thought the movie overall did a really, really good job of getting me on board with those things. So I think my lesson would be like, I mean, honestly, I in order to like see exactly how they did it, would be to like watch this movie to see like how it was able to set up these character dynamics so quickly and so well, for the character swap to actually work later.
Yeah,
because I think it does that really well for the most part.
Like that, essentially, that's my lesson. Is like your movie still has to work,
right?
Period.
Yeah,
like
without the context.
Yeah, you take all and look context. I am a firm believer that not everything is for everyone. Sometimes things need to be made for specific groups, and that's exactly what movies are like this for. But emotionally speaking, the movie needs to work no matter what. You can't just rely exclusively on the fact that Naruto is a beloved character to make it work. You have to send him on an actual journey. Right. You have to give him actual challenges and give him actual choices to make. For it to work, if it's just Naruto punching people, cool, do that in 5 minutes, we're good. Yeah. But if you're going to put him on a journey, it can't be based entirely around the fact that we love him. Right. It has to be a real journey. Right. And I think that of like, again, as a comic book reader, where does fan fiction begin and end? Because all of these writers who come on who didn't create them are just telling stories they've always wanted to tell, which is fan fiction, but they're paid and it's real, so it's not fan fiction. It's crazy, right? It's like a weird
They have the license to do it, so
they
it's
have
not
the
fan
license
fiction.
to make fan fiction, so it's not fan fiction.
Yeah, right. That's a funny way of looking at it.
It's just a weird thing.
Yeah.
And so I I'm that way. I think of, what would I do with Batman? What would I do with Superman? What would I do with fucking an Alien movie? What would I do with Indiana Jones? What would I do with Anakin Skywalker? Like that's like a writing exercise for me. Is like what is my understanding of this character and what do I think my way in is? Yeah. And I recommend that as a writing exercise. Take a pre-existing thing and try to tell an actually interesting story. Yeah. I would give anything to make any of these movies, and so if the day ever comes that I get to pitch it, best believe I got pitches. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where it's like I don't have to make it up on the spot. I've been thinking about this for years. Right. And I also think that helps me make up things on the spot too. Yeah. So people are like, what is this? And I can quickly rattle off something that might work that needs development, but at least sounds good and at least has a core of an idea that could work. Bars. And so I think that's a great writing exercise. But again, your movie has to work. Yeah. Fundamentally, your movie has to work. And then you get to do all the flavor that makes it for a specific group, but that group still needs the movie to work. Yeah. That doesn't change. That's just my lesson, is think about that within tropes of your genre, within tropes of your story. In this instance, a like personality swap, different dimension, what if story. Yeah. Doesn't change the fact the movie has to work. Right. The movie has to be emotional. Yeah. So anyway, that's it. Pretty like baseline lesson, but also an activity. You know, just a pretend you were given
homework. I expect it. We expect your homework by our next episode. Please send it to homework at irs.gov, and we will highlight the best. I'm kidding.
So anyway, that's just the general lesson of it. But yeah, anyway.
B segment. You're an Naruto fan, right?
I'm a Naruto fan.
Do you want to test that?
I'm scared. It's been a while, but yes.
So I've got a lot of questions.
Oh shit.
So we'll try to get through this kind of quick. If you have an answer, give it. And then we'll just blow through. Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah.
How many times did Naruto fail the graduation test from the academy?
3.
Yes. Who tricks Naruto into stealing a scroll in the first episode of the series?
I cannot remember his name, but I can describe what he looks like. He's got white hair and he wears his leaf thing is a bandana, and he uses a demon wind shuriken.
Mizuki,
yeah. He's friends with Iruka. He hates Naruto. Yeah.
He knows.
I know it is. I didn't remember his name.
Which of the Hokage sealed the 9-tailed fox in Naruto?
4th Hokage.
Yep. What is the name of Zabuza's sword?
Zabuza.
Zabuza?
It's the blood something, right?
No.
Can I describe what the sword does? Because it's cool as shit.
Sure.
Lore drop. If it breaks and he gets more blood on it, it regrows.
Whoa.
Sick as shit, dude.
The Kabuki or Bocho?
Anyway,
I don't know.
It's like a giant shoulder blade. Yeah. It's sick as hell.
What jutsu is Naruto most proficient in?
Specific jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu and Rasengan.
Yep. Or shadow clone technique is but yeah, shadow clone.
Interesting lore drop about that too. Everyone else's are fake; they're illusions, and his are physical, real things that he splits his chakra into, so they can also do jutsu.
Oh hell yeah! I didn't know that. That's sick. How many answers did Naruto answer correctly in the first phase of the Chunin exam?
0.
Who was planned to be killed by Sasuke? Sasuke?
Wait, who was planned to be killed?
Who
by
was
Sasuke?
planned to be killed by Sasuke? Sasuke. is Sasuke. Right?
I don't know what this question is referring to. What's the answer?
Itachi Uchi.
Oh, who was Sasuke planning to kill? Yeah, Itachi. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's his brother, the revenge mission.
I'm not going to ding you for that one. Name the legendary Sannin, who became the 5th Hokage.
Tsunade.
Yep. Name the ninja who is... name the ninja who is a kunoichi? Kunoi.
Sakura?
Yes.
Yeah.
What does Naruto wear before he became a genin?
What does... Oh, and goggles.
Yes. Oh my God, you know all of this. Name the type of jutsu to which Sharingan belongs.
It's Genjutsu. Oh, sorry. It's not Genjutsu. It is a Kekkei Genkai.
No. Duojutsu? Duojutsu?
I don't know that then.
Okay.
I mean, it's an I thing, so I'm sure there's a whole specific subject.
Name the master of taijutsu.
Master of taijutsu. It would be Might Guy or Rock Lee.
Guy.
Yeah.
Who secretly liked Naruto?
Hinata.
No, it says Ino and Sakura. Sakura?
That's not true.
Okay. That's not true. That's
true.
Spencer knows best.
That's not true.
Who held Naruto hostage when he was born?
This is a spoiler, but it's the guy with the orange mask and he has the wavy mask with the thing. Madara. Let's call him Madara.
I'm not going to remember this, so it doesn't have to.
Madara or the one.
It's Madara.
Yeah.
Who's the one person Naruto respects and admires the most?
Is it Iruka?
Yep. Who can use crystal iced mirrors?
Oh, I don't remember her name, but she is Zabuza's. He. It's confusing. Depending on which version you watch. She's his student, and I can't remember her name, but I can picture them in my head. Haku, yeah. The first Zabuza and Haku are his first like real villains he fights. It's a great arc. It's super cool.
Who does not have a Kekkei
Genkai?
Yeah. Who does not have one?
A lot of people don't have Kekkei Genkai. Naruto doesn't have a Kekkei Genkai.
That was the answer, Naruto. To whom does Naruto call Bushy Brow?
Rock Lee, yeah.
Yep. What character had a puppet on his back?
Oh shit! He's Gaara's brother. I can't remember his name.
Gaara. That's what it says.
Gaara has a gourd on his back filled with sand. His brother has a puppet on his back.
I think the quiz that I got has wrong answers.
Yeah.
What is Sasuke's Kekkei Genkai?
Sharingan.
You got it. You got like all of them correct except for the ones that I think this might have gotten wrong.
A couple names I didn't know.
Congratulations.
I used to know all the names. I used to be able to name every Naruto character.
I believe you.
It's been too long since I've watched it.
It's crazy that you say that and you get like 90% of them like right, and the ones you got wrong, you're like, I actually think the quiz is wrong.
Yeah. I've watched Naruto a lot.
Yeah.
Naruto Shippuden I've only watched all the way through once.
Yeah.
Skipping the filler because fuck the filler.
Fuck the filler.
Yeah, Naruto.
Yeah, Naruto. I have my notebook if we want to talk about Madam Web.
Oh shit, do we want to talk about Madam?
How much? What time?
We're at an hour right now.
We're already at an hour.
Is Madam Web just its own mini-sode? And we just do Madam Web?
I could be down for that.
Let's do that.
Okay. Stay tuned for a Madam Web mini-sode.
We're just going to keep pushing it every week.
We really will. Short little shout out to oh god, what's his name? I literally Akira Toriyama, thank you. Shout out to Akira Toriyama. I mean, I think it's kind of relevant. Obviously, he didn't work on Naruto, but I think it's relevant to the conversation we're having today.
I think Dragon Ball Z influenced
everything. Yeah,
every fighter anime, it's
So, and like I think like so he recently passed. He was 68, so it's like, look, not young, but too young to pass. Yeah. Like, it's so sad. Yeah, he not only Naruto, but like in the video game world, had also so much influence. Like, I mean, like doing the character design for freaking Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Like, I am not a JRPG guy, but literally the only JRPGs I've ever been like actually interested in playing are the ones that he is responsible for the character designs for, specifically Chrono Trigger and Dragon Quest, the Dragon Quest series. Like I started playing a Dragon Quest game and then got very frustrated because I don't know how to fucking play it. Like absolutely legendary artist, absolutely legendary creator. Like the world is dimmer since his passing. And hopefully other artists that have been inspired by him can take up that mantle and continue creating insane, beautiful, horrifying, invigorating characters into the future. So shout out to Akira.
Yeah.
Recommendations?
Naruto.
Yeah.
Take this as if you've gotten all the way to the end and you haven't seen Naruto, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
But watch Naruto, and if you have seen Naruto, restart it, man. Naruto's a great skip around if you don't want to watch the whole thing, but study up. Naruto's the truth. I recommend Naruto all the time, but Naruto's the truth. Outside of that, I have been watching Yellow Jackets. It's a very fun, kind of gross show.
Yeah.
It scratches a certain itch if you're into that type of thing. So I've been watching Yellow Jackets. I saw Immaculate with Sydney Sweeney, and I have complicated feelings on that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm recommending that Naruto.
Bars.
Naruto.
For no reason. I literally saw a clip of it on TikTok, and I was like, I'm going to watch that. Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah.
Hey, man, there ain't nothing better than watching Nazis get murdered.
You had a
brutally.
turn with that one, right? You didn't love it?
I really, really liked it the first time I watched it. And then the next couple times I saw it, it just didn't super sit with me great. For one reason or another, I honestly don't even know why I didn't love it that much. But then I, rewatch it again. Movie fucking rules, man. Yeah. Movie fucking rules.
Inglourious Bastards is great.
I need to go back and watch Django again. I need to go watch.
Didn't you rewatch it? During the pandemic, right? And I thought you liked it more.
I definitely liked it more. I need to watch it again with where I'm at in my life, and having had conversations with people about it. Because for a long time, Django sat with me weird, just because of what that movie is and who the people are that created it. Just feels kind of weird, but at the same time, it's it isn't. It isn't glorifying the bad parts about it. It's glorifying the hero elements of it, So I really want to rewatch that again in light of this most recent watch of Inglourious Bastards. But if you haven't watched it recently or you've never seen it and you want to watch some Nazis getting murdered because Nazis deserve to die horrible, brutal deaths, go watch Inglourious Bastards.
That would be a great programming month. We should start doing that. We should start making up programming months for people and just make lists and post them.
Yeah.
And that would be the whatever month is Nazis getting murdered. Nazi Murder November or whatever.
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
The Indiana Jones series, the new Guy Ritchie movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Glorious Bastards.
Hey, I love a good, hey, let's go fucking kill some evil people movies. Yeah. And that is kind of, there's nothing more evil than the blight of the Nazis.
Yeah.
And it's fun watching them get murdered. So go watch some Nazi murder.
Yeah. Do it. Do it now. So anyway, you got a bunch of stuff to watch. Got so much stuff to watch with Naruto.
If you're watching Naruto.
Do it. Anyway.
Filler included. Do it.
So anyway, go do that. Or I don't know. Live your life.